Hello, everyone, and welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott, and it is a hot and humid Sunday afternoon. Boy, oh boy. Anyhow, what I'm showing you is the clover and other stuff that we planted about a week ago. It's starting to come up, and while you can see it close, it is all throughout this backfield, and that's a good thing. We eventually want this all covered with clover to start building up our soil. So it feels good to have something growing. It feels it feels like all that work that I put into this is paying off. It's still a long ways to go, but man, that looks good. All right, I've got a probably an interesting topic today, and I want you to take note of the distance between that black strip at the bottom of my shipping container and the ground. And then I'll explain more about that in a minute once I get the camera turned around where I can get comfortable and tell my story. All right, so let me tell you a story. Yesterday, just dropped my cell phone. Hang on. There we go. Just stick it in here. Yesterday, I was working on my property. Like I just showed you, we've done a lot of our work out over that way, and it's just kind of nice to be done with that for a little while, because I've been working on it for a couple months, and that was my main focus. But now we're letting things grow and we can settle. So I had some other chores that were kind of piling up that I needed to tend to, and one of them was my pressure washer. And sometime during the move, the frame that the pressure washer sits on, the part that comes up for the handle where you can roll it around, got bent, and it made it very difficult to open the gas cap. And so one of my chores was to kind of fix that, and my goal was just to bend that back enough where I can easily open and close the gas cap. So I'm in my shipping container. I had those doors I just showed you before open all the way, and I was inside about a foot or two. And so I had it where I was facing the pump side of the pressure washer. All pressure washers are built about the same, where the pump itself is towards the front of the pressure washer, then the motor's behind it, and then behind that is the handle that you tote it around with or push it around with, and storage for your nozzles and hoses or whatever. So I was at the front, and I put my foot on the little bumper on the front by the pump, and then I took both my hands and I grabbed that handle and I started to push it. And I guess what happened is I gave it a little too much oomph, and the top part of that handle separated from the pressure washer proper, and I commenced to going up over the top of the pressure washer, heading to the ground. As I saw the ground coming up, I braced my left arm out to catch myself, and I did very well and jammed my wrist pretty hard. However, as I was going down and I was making contact with the floor of the shipping container, I realized that my journey wasn't over yet, because I continued across the floor of the shipping container, off the edge, and did a face plant into the gravel, coming to a rest right in front of my shipping container. Damage wise, I no longer have a back handle for my pressure washer, but I have a fix in that'll work. Doesn't look as nice, but it works. And damage to me, though, was luckily not too bad. I got a scrape on my right elbow. It bent my glasses a little bit. I was wearing these. I was able to bend them back. But the hardest thing that hit is I really sprained my wrist very well. and it hurt like the dickens. And this is where I am now. It is healing. I don't know if you can all see it, but my hand is actually bruised. I am in some pain. I can't put a lot of weight on it yet, but it's healing really well. And I'll tell you the things I've done to help it heal. It's bandaged now, mainly just to keep it still. It seems to do a better job fixing itself when I'm not, flexing it around as much. So the bandage on is not so much to encase it, so to speak, than just to remind me that you sprained your wrist, you need to take it slow and not move it as much, and in doing so it doesn't hurt as much. So what else am I doing to fix it? Well, first let me talk about this ace bandage. When I first got up off the ground, I grabbed my wrist like this and I went to go find my wife, and I was very grateful she was there to assist me. It's going to sound funny, but being able to go to my wife helped make me feel better. And so I really appreciated her being there, and I've told her profusely how grateful I am. I'm typically the type of person that takes care of himself and does things by himself, but in this case I was glad she was there. And so I came in the house. I took some Aleve. I took 2 tablets of Aleve. Normally you take 1, but on occasions like this, 2 is indicated. I took 2 of these and I sat for a while just trying to see what my wrist and my hand was going to do. It did swell up a little bit, but in checking it, I didn't feel any broken bones. And typically, I'm not a doctor, but typically I have discovered that if something hurts a lot, it's probably a sprain. If something doesn't hurt a lot, you probably broke it. And I don't know why that is, but that's what I've discovered in my life, that if something hurts a lot, you probably sprained it. That's what I'm pretty sure what happened here. We're going to keep an eye on it, but the swelling is going down. So what am I doing besides, wrapping it just to keep it still? Well, I'm continuing to take Aleve, which is sodium naproxen, which is an NSAID or a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. And I use some of my, what I call my boo-boo ointment. And that's something I make here at the house, and it's comprised of a infusion made with comfrey, which the nickname for comfrey is bone knit. It has vitamin E, it has cloves, and it has melaleuca or tea tree oil in it. And what I'm doing is I am rubbing it on my skin. This is not something you take internally, but a couple times a day I rub it here and over here and over here, and surprisingly I really feel that this is healing faster because of my homemade medicine. Now I call it Scott's Boo Boo Ointment, and I have a video on it. If I remember, I'll post the link to that video so you all can make your own. But I use it on cuts and scrapes. I use it on rashes. I use it on everything, except I don't eat it because the comfrey is supposed to be not good for you when you eat it. Either is the melaleuca. And so I've been rubbing it, and the swelling has gone way down. It doesn't hurt as much, so I feel, I mean, I don't have any scientific evidence of this, but I really feel that applying the comfrey is helping to mend my bruised and sprained muscles and tendons and bruised bones, because it does feel a lot better today, and more so than I think it should for this amount of time that has passed. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that we discovered a hole in some of our preps, and it was a good thing. We didn't have any ace bandages, which I thought was very interesting because we have a pretty good first aid kit and we have lots of stuff in there, but we didn't have ace bandages, and I thought we had at least one, because I've worked around machinery and things most of my life, things that could kill you type machinery, and I'm typically very careful. and I rarely have a need for an ace bandage. Um, but stuff happens, and this is probably the first time I've needed one in 10 or 15 years, but we didn't have any. Luckily, my wife was able to find a drugstore that was open. This is, later Saturday afternoon, and she was able to drive to the drugstore, pick us up some ace bandages, going through the drive-through and bringing them back. So we now have a supply. We have more than one. We have a supply in our first aid box, and so that was good that we were able to fix that problem now, rather than in the future when we might not have been able to. So that was a good thing. Boy, I'm just looking down right by my feet here, and there's all sorts of stuff growing right here. It's amazing. But that's really what I want to talk about. Stuff happens. Like I said, I'm not normally one to hurt myself bad, but I was able to get it. Am I functional? No, I can't do a lot with this yet. I can do a little more than I could yesterday, but I'm not picking up anything heavy with this, and so it'll be a couple days. The good news is that we've finished most of the stuff that we needed to get done by today anyhow, so if I'm going to hurt myself, this was a good time, and I'm able to take it easy for the next couple days and do other things. It doesn't mean I stop working and I sit on the couch and go, oh, woe is me. I shift my focus from doing the more physical things, where now I'm sitting at my desk, or I have my laptop at the couch, and I'm doing other things, planning and whatnot. And so it's a constant thing. If you can't do one thing, go do another. Stuff like this happens. Like I said, this doesn't happen to me very often, but it does happen. And recognizing that and being able to deal with it. Could I have done other things without the ace bandage? Yeah, probably, but not as well. And I would not have been in as much comfort as I am now. I'll probably take this off later today and let my skin air out for an hour or two, and I'll put some more of my boo-boo ointment on there to help it heal, and then I'll put it back on. And then at night I sleep with it, because when you're half asleep you forget that you hurt yourself until you do something stupid and you wake up. So anyhow, I'm just telling on myself a little bit, and I'm hoping you all can benefit from that. But it was kind of funny after I thought about it, because I remember distinctly when I hit the floor of the shipping container, realizing that I wasn't done yet, that I had another bounce to go. And it's funny now, and luckily, I mean, I landed on my face, but luckily when I hit, I just hit and didn't go like that. If I went like that, I'd have road rash on my face, but I just went plop. So everybody take care out there, stay safe. Be careful what you're doing. I think my fault was I did not expect those handles to they just tore off the top of that pressure washer, and then me and that handle kept going, and then the pressure washer tumbled out with me. Could have been worse, but we got it done. So that's all I got for y'all. Just stay safe and stay secure.